Hi! In this video, we're going to cover how to move around text in Vim. There's a great analogy that can help us become more critical and aware about our text navigation in Vim. We should see moving around text in Vim as painting. Instead of having different painting brushes, we have many different motion brushes with different sizes. It would be very inefficient to use a small and thin brush to paint a huge surface. With this in mind, the H and L keys from hjkl are the finest brush that we could use, which allows to paint one character motions. Nevertheless, they are the most abused because if we put enough time, they can manage to paint any surface. But as you can imagine, this is not very efficient. So let's check what different brush sizes we have, from bigger to smaller in Vim motion. Let's start with horizontal movement. The first option that we have is the character movement, which is almost always the best option when moving within a line. I like using the Vim Easy Motion plugin in order to easily target on which character I want to land. Our next horizontal motion is the end or beginning of line jump. The proposed key binding is Ctrl L and Ctrl H, which is really easy to remember because it's just like the H and L from hjkl, but with the Ctrl modifier, which is used in bigger motion brushes, as we will later see. Next we have big words, which we should usually prioritize over small words. Let me open a code example so we can see them in action. Anyhow, I would like to emphasize that if we are trying to move farther away in the line, we most likely should use the character search, so the F or T motion. Only if we want to move to a word that is close to us and we find ourselves thinking, I want to move to the next word, then we should use the word motion. And finally, H and L, which we should use only to make small corrections if we don't land exactly where we want to go. Let's move on to vertical movement. First, we have the relative jump, which we can perform using a number followed by J or K. If you don't feel very comfortable writing numbers, I would suggest using the Vim Easy Motion plugin combined with the following arpeggio key bindings: S plus K for searching up, or S plus J for searching down. We will get the different targets where we can land on. Next we have the paragraph movement, or the code block movement. I really like using this one. I think it's not that used because depending on your keyboard configuration, the vanilla keys are not that comfortable to use. So I would recommend remapping them to Ctrl up and Ctrl down, so Ctrl J and Ctrl K, which will make you use this motion way more often. Finally, the J and K movement for one-line corrections. We should use the horizontal and vertical movement when we don't have in mind a particular target that we want to land on, or if this target is very close to us. But most of the time, we should know where we want to go. If not, we should slow down and try to think more about what are the changes that we want to perform to the text. When we know to which word we want to go, we should use a target movement. First, we have search. And this is the motion that we should really be abusing instead of hjkl. I also really recommend here using the Vim Easy Motion plugin, together with the following arpeggio key binding: S plus A for search all. The nice thing of using arpeggio key bindings here and in the previous ones is that we don't disrupt any vanilla key binding. Next we have the asterisk motion, which is great to navigate into similar words to the one that we are currently at. This is great when we want to do some kind of change and we want to repeat this change to those other words. The Vim asterisk plugin makes this motion even better because it allows to keep the relative position on the word. This is great when we want to repeat a change on similar words because we can just use the dot operator. Let me show you an example. Let's say that we want to rename this variable, but we want to change half of the name. So we are going to change timer for new timer. Now we can repeat the change just using the asterisk and the dot operator. Isn't it amazing? Finally, we have navigation. We use these motions when we don't really know where we want to go. I use up and down with the smooth scrolling plugin in order to be able to use them to navigate text that I'm not familiar with, and forward and backwards to navigate text that I'm familiar with, and I just want to go one page back or one page forward. Generally, when moving around text, we would like at some point to reposition the viewport to center our cursor. We can easily do this with ZZ. A mnemonic to remember this is that we use ZZ in order to be able to see. Something that happens really often is that we want to jump back to the position that we jumped from. We can easily achieve this with Ctrl O and Ctrl I, which I remember with jump out or jump in. I recommend setting the following options in order to make the relative line jump that we do with a number followed by J or K also be recorded in the jump list. This way we can do the relative line jump and also jump back with Ctrl O and Ctrl I. Okay, this covers all the basic motions that we have in order to move around text in Vim. And in the next video we will cover more advanced motions that we will use more specifically to navigate code. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.